Welcome back, people. This is No Decorum. I'm AJ.
And I'm Daniel.
And today, we're going to talk about Ben Shapiro.
Ben Shapiro. Couldn't wait.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's been a while since we talked about him.
Yeah.
Well, actually, maybe 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks. He's still around. He's still making some noise out there.
Yeah.
So
He had a, pretty rough month, you would say. He got his butt whipped by Neil deGrasse Tyson.
yeah, that's true.
And 2 weeks ago on Bill Maher's show.
Yeah.
Another black guy kicked his ass.
Malcolm Nance.
Yeah.
So they had a discussion over critical race theory.
Yes.
And it's
CRT.
CRT. That's
CRT.
right. That's right.
Yeah.
And so, let me guess. Ben is against the teaching of.
Ben is
Critical race
against, yes.
Yeah, I thought so. Well,
He doesn't like it at all.
what does he think it is?
Let's play his video and see what he says.
Yep, sounds good.
All right.
Now we're going to fight. Now I'm going to make you fight again. But it's okay. But I got to talk about the muzzle laws. There's these laws that have been introduced in a number of states to not talk about critical race theory. Now, critical race theory, I must say, to begin with, I hadn't heard the term probably a year ago. Now I hear it every day. I think Americans are just starting to hear it. And I think no one knows exactly what it is. They know it has something to do with race, and it's some kind of a theory. Right? How would you describe it? And then we'll ask, how would you describe it? What is critical race theory?
I will admit that I read a lot of critical race theory in law school. So, the work of Derek Bell or Gene Stefancic
This is
and
the
Richard
stuff
Delgado.
no one knows but you and 6 other people.
Right. So,
But what matters is what is it practically? It's being taught in schools or some form of.
yes, there's a certain sort of crystallized version of it that is a lot less complex than what critical race theory actually is. But critical race theory essentially argues that racism is baked into all the systems of American society, and that any sort of neutral system is in fact a guise for racial power. And so the argument is made by Derek Bell, for example, that Brown versus Board of Education, and this is an argument he made in 1991, that Brown versus Board of Education was actually a way for the white community to leverage its own power. It wasn't an attempt to end segregation in public schools. Even things that are purportedly good in terms of race, so long as they uphold these broader systems, things like capitalism or things like the meritocracy, these things are actually just guises for power. And so what that boils down to in sort of practical terms is all disparity equals discrimination. If you can see any stat where black people are underperforming white people, this means the system was set up for the benefit of white people, and that white people have a duty to tear down these systems in order to alleviate the racism that's implicit in those systems. When it comes to schools, what this tends to boil down to is kids who are white have experienced privilege because the system was built for white people, and we have to change the standards.
Right. Now,
So he's saying that that is a theory that's being taught, that there is a systemic racism.
I don't even know that it's taught in public schools.
No, it's not. I mean, nowhere is being taught.
I think maybe he's saying some facets of it are being taught somehow, maybe
Yeah.
under the radar. I'm not sure how he means that, but yeah. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
But that's what he's saying, that we are teaching our kids now that system is basically racist.
Yeah.
And just because they're white people and they are racist based on that.
Yep. Doesn't seem reasonable. Obviously, I don't think anyone's teaching that.
No, nobody's teaching that.
Maybe some parents are teaching their kids that. I don't know, but I've not heard any teachers teach that.
No system is teaching that. I mean, maybe it's being taught at home. It might be the case. Who knows?
Who knows?
I mean, how do you become racist if nobody's teaching you?
Born that way, AJ. It's a natural aptitude.
Yeah, I mean, if that was not the case, KKK wouldn't be around.
That's true.
Or skinheads, or
Proud Boys.
Yeah, Proud Boys.
Republicans. Anyway,
But Bundy's new comments about African Americans have cost him some conservative fans.
I want to tell you one more thing I know about the Negro.
The video shot this weekend was posted on YouTube.
And I've often wondered, are they better off as slaves, picking cotton, having family life and doing things, or are they better off under government subsidy?
Nevada Senator Dean Heller called the remarks.
yeah, I think so. We talked about this before, but I think any system put in place by the majority of the population is going to benefit that population. I think that's common sense, right?
Yeah.
No matter where you go, whether you're Indian or whether you're, European, doesn't matter where. The majority.
That's a human nature, right?
Yeah, of course
it is. It's what is it called?
Preservation?
Yeah.
Well,
so you are trying to protect yourself first. Yeah. I mean, if you're in danger, you protect yourself first.
Yeah.
Then your family, then your kids.
Yeah.
Or then it goes the people that look like you.
Yeah.
And then
or believe like
about,
you. Yeah. Yeah, and this has been historically true. It's only in modern times really where you've seen this kind of like equalization. You've seen this kind of laws being passed to protect other peoples. But historically it was not the case. I mean, it's just, I'm not sure where the idea came from that it wasn't that way.
Yeah.
I mean, the Constitution is very clear about who it's for. Blacks are 3/5 of a white person.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Slavery is allowed. Why? Well, the system is in place for white people, not for black people. So I'm not sure why that's controversial. It shouldn't be controversial. But
well, it's not. But what the current movement is, as in Texas case, they want to wipe the history. Basically, say, yeah, they were racist people there, but we really don't want to talk about that anymore because there is no more racism in now.
Yeah, sure.
But we're not saying now. We're talking about history.
Yeah, so we're not modern history. We're history in general. They also want to wipe out people like Cesar Chavez, the worker rights movement. Even that, they want to wipe that out. They don't want any mention of it.
Yep.
I'm just saying these are not just racial issues, but it's kind of curious why they would not want that in history books. Kind of a big deal. But
they don't want to talk about Ku Klux Klan. They don't want to talk about racist South. They don't want to talk about Civil War as being a war fought based on keeping humans as slaves.
It was a war of northern aggression.
Yes.
It wasn't about slavery.
It was northern aggression. It was about Texas.
Yeah, that's right. About states' rights.
Yeah, state rights.
Which they never define what that means when you ask them. It's states' rights.
It was about heritage.
It's a heritage. That's right.
Heritage to keep my human being as slave,
Human property.
Yeah.
We've talked about before was it the Louisiana textbook when they talked about the slave owners who lost their slaves and how much they suffered and struggled without their slaves.
Yeah.
That's one way to look at it, sure, but the other way is that they were keeping people as, property. Yeah, you're going to struggle without free labor, sure. But yeah, so they wanted to gain sympathy for the slave owners who lost their slaves.
Yeah.
And that was, of course, by the Daughters of the Confederacy. They were spreading this information out there.
Yeah. If the history looks bad on you, obviously, I can understand that they don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
I'm sure Nazis don't want to talk about their stuff either.
Although Germany does talk about it, they don't. They talk about the history of what happened. They don't.
They
have Holocaust Museum. They have, they make sure that it's not forgotten what happened there.
Yeah.
It's kind of an issue. You don't have to be this way, the way we're doing it here. But,
but their issue is that the system is racist because it was built this way. The system was built by racist people.
Yeah, for sure.
So it is going to benefit them first.
To the detriment of other people who aren't like them.
Yeah. And in modern times, we have to change some of the things, test scores. He's talking about that, the standards are being lowered for other people.
Yeah.
Which I I don't agree with that.
Yeah.
I mean, the test should be the same. Whoever is taking it, doesn't matter. If you're saying everybody is equal, then test should be equal too.
It should be equal too.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, you don't have equal, again, opportunity to gain the kind of knowledge you need to pass those tests.
Yeah. I mean,
Schools are just lousy.
Yeah. So where we disagree is because if you're going to give a test that is being taken in Plano, Texas, or South Lake, Texas, it cannot be the same test that's taken in some other lower income community, because that community schools may not have the same resources. So if you're going to provide same testing, then the money has to be the same also.
Yeah, it's a tall order.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we've got a ways to go on that one. It's a lot of hurdles to overcome there.
I mean, and that's where these people don't want to agree, because they don't want to provide that system. I mean, if you look at independent school districts, why are they independent? Why is it independent school district?
Mm-hmm.
And why do we need to have so many superintendents and board of educations and all these other people? Why do we need all these things?
Right.
The money is being wasted on these superintendents. They are hired at. I mean, their superintendents are, I think, second or third or fourth highest person. Highest paid person.
They're massive salaries.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
And in my opinion, it's to segregate, to keep the poor communities out of there.
Oh yeah.
You know.
For sure.
Yeah.
You want to bring the test scores down,
Yeah.
or whatever. The bad element, when I'm mingling with your own kids, and yeah.
So what did Malcolm Nance did to Ben Shapiro? What did he do?
What, just now?
Yeah. Did he kick his ass though?
Yeah, he smacked him down a little bit. I mean, in a very polite way. It wasn't a physical thing, but obviously, he's just the reality of what critical race theory is, and they use it it's a scare tactic, obviously, on the right, but it's almost as scary as mask mandates. But
yeah, I mean, he kind of left Ben Shapiro at saying, "I sleep well at night. Bed made of money."
Well, that wasn't in the clip, though. You gotta keep playing it. But that when you end on that note, you're in a bad situation.
Yeah,
you have nowhere else to go, and so you resort to your bed of money.
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of like when a kid says, "I'm going home with my ball."
It's mine.
Yeah, he's losing, so he has nowhere else to go, and he doesn't want to.
Well, at least I'm rich.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of a childish move, but he's allowed to do it. Yeah, it's a free country, so either way.
Yeah, I mean, he can do that. I mean, that's fine. But the people that say that he did not lose, he lost.
Yeah, he lost.
He lost that argument.
There's no question about that.
Yeah.
But I think Bill Maher brought something up that was interesting. He said that he was talking about where it was being taught, a critical race theory, right?
Yeah.
And he was like, he seemed to think it's being taught in more places than it is.
Yeah.
He thinks, but he doesn't believe that the racist things are being taught in more places than they are. So it's kind of it doesn't make any sense to me. Where he believes that the one side over the other side, right? He believes the CRT side, or the Republicans, it's being taught everywhere, but not that racist ideas are being taught in most schools. Well, why not? What's the difference? I mean, why do you believe one and not the other? And if you look at that further in that clip, is what he's talking about. That was interesting, where one has more credibility than the other one. So Ben Shapiro's thing is being taught has more credibility than Malcolm Nance saying that, racist things are being taught in schools or whatever. I don't know why that's the case.
But why did they? Why did he have a problem with agreeing with Ben Shapiro? He said, "I agree with everything what Ben Shapiro said." Why did they have a problem with that? Why did Bill Maher?
Oh, when Malcolm Nance said that?
Yeah. Or even Ben Shapiro was like, what?
What?
Yeah, he could not understand.
Because
why.
I think even though he agrees, I think they interpret different ways, right? Ben Shapiro interprets it one way, like it's wrong, but Malcolm Nance says, no, that's exactly how it is.
Yeah.
This is what they're teaching. Ben said it's wrong. He said it's right. That's why they, all the points you made were exactly accurate, but how we interpret those points are very different. So, and that's the way it's going to be. That's the way the left and the right is in this country. I'm not saying Malcolm Nance is on the left, but I'm saying he's on the side that interprets it in that way. So,
yeah, I mean,
basically they're trying to cancel critical race theory.
when it's not even being taught, though.
I know. Only in colleges, like Ben Shapiro, it's in law schools. That's where they learn it. That's where you learn about that stuff. So,
Yeah, it was funny when Bill Maher said it's you and 4 other people know
yeah,
about
no
it.
kidding, right? Nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
I mean, especially people who are complaining about it at those board meetings. They
Yeah.
have no idea what it is. They have no clue. They haven't read about it. They've been to a right-wing website and they've heard the terminology and that they complain about it. But I guarantee.
I mean,
they know what it
I
means.
never heard about critical race theory until maybe a few months ago, actually.
Yeah, when the right, went nuts.
Yeah.
Was it the 1619 project? Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of blew this whole thing up. But I don't know. They get very upset about things like that. But not about, rioters at the Capitol. That's fine.
Why would they have a problem with teaching history? I mean, the real history. I mean, it should be taught, right?
It paints them in a bad light. It paints their ancestors in a bad light. It paints America in a bad light. That's why. The idea of America is
it
tarnished.
about America or is it about the race? I mean, is it that the white people are looked upon as the bad people?
Yeah, I think that's most of it. Honestly, I do. But they also have this narrative about America as well, and it's like the land of milk and honey, and it's pure, and it's moral and upright, upstanding, and when you call that into question, you call everything else into question also. They don't
So,
like it.
do they think just because they're white, people are blaming them? for being-
No, there's definitely a victim complex, for sure. Yeah, they're being victimized by history somehow. And I think they think people are associating them with the past actions of people in this country by nature of their race.
So, but nobody is saying that just because this happened and they were white people, the people there now are doing it.
I think the problem is some people have said that. And when I say some, I mean some people on Twitter or social media. Or you'll find a a pundit somewhere on some news channel, and they'll say things like that just offhandedly, and then they'll somehow like ascribe that to the entire population, thinking that it's not true. I mean, you have lunatics on both sides all the time. So I mean, I don't think every Republican's a neo-Nazi. So it's like, yeah, you do have those fringe people thinking that, but that's what they do. They extrapolate that out to mean everybody thinks that now. We're being attacked by everyone on the left. It's not true. It's not the way that works.
Are these the politically correct people all the time? Are these the one that saying those things?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, it's a lot of guys just say things for attention, just to be controversial. Who knows?
These are the people that they become overly. They're always offended. You need to apologize.
Yeah.
They can't take a joke.
No.
People like that.
The woke people?
Oh, yeah, there you go. That's what I was looking. Yeah, the woke people. There you go.
Woo! Okay, that's I'm gonna take a break.
Yeah, it took a long time for that word to come out of there.
I'm thinking some really complex word. Like, what could it be?
No,
It's woke.
I mean, like, what the fuck, man?
It's
I
the
can't-
woke people.
Oh
It's the
shit!
woke
I
people.
said the what the fuck?
We're not monetized anyway. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Not getting paid for this. Yeah, look, that's right. I mean, there's something like that on both sides, though. There's a woke on the left, but on the right, there's just this push to, I don't know, subvert the teaching of this stuff. Like they don't want to. It's very similar. That they don't want to be talked about. They don't want to be accused of anything. I mean, they are overly sensitive too.
Yeah.
Very much so. The left and right are both like that. It's why you can't criticize the military or the police. They get just very, very sensitive. I mean, it doesn't, and I don't know, it's so weird that, I mean, these two factions exist on both sides, but they don't see it. Like, they look at each other. You're the same people. You're the same people.
Yeah, you're doing the same thing.
The same thing. You're canceling people left and right.
Yeah.
You know Arnold?
Yeah.
He just got canceled by this company called Redcon. I think they're like a fitness industry or something, because he said "screw your freedom." You see that?
Really?
Yeah, he was talking about
didn't see
mask
that one.
mandates, and he's talking about, what your freedom. I mean, that's why we don't run the red light or we stop at a stop sign. Freedom. What are you talking about? Screw your freedom. I mean, wear a mask. All right, people are dying. And so, he hosts the Arnold Classic, the bodybuilding show.
Yeah.
And this major contributor, Redcon One, said, "I can no longer support Arnold because he said screw your freedom." But the context was very specific at what he's talking about. It's about your mask. Use your mask. That's it. But they got very sensitive about that. It's just calm down. Calm down. All right.
Hey, we take our freedom very seriously, man.
Sure you do.
Yeah.
Sure. And again, it's that really childlike understanding what freedom means.
Yeah.
Very simplistic. Really, it's to do what I want to do. Well, that's not the way the world works. It never has worked.
It doesn't happen. Nowhere in the world it happens.
You just do whatever you want.
I mean, you can't even do that in your house.
No, you can't.
I mean, you have to look at what your wife or your kids or everybody else wants to do.
That's right.
I mean, try that on Friday night. Where do you want to go eat? That's the question that comes up. Where do you want to go eat?
10 different answers.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very strange thing, and they'll have everything else mandated,
Yeah.
but not a mask mandate, right? Not a vaccine mandate. Even though they've taken vaccines as they've been mandated. You have to take those to get into school. I mean, somehow now it's become political, but anyway, we're getting off topic, of course. But
Yes.
this is the point. I mean, this is both sides have this kind of a woke culture, if you want to call it that.
Let's see what my Malcolm Nance says.
Let's see what he says.
Now, okay, well, so Malcolm, you tell me your definition.
Oh, I agree with everything he just said.
Oh, great.
And I appreciate you being honest in defining of what it's like to be Black American. Right? That is, I mean, we're talking about a system.
That's unfair.
You're saying no, I'm just saying I agree with all of those suppositions because they are grounded in truth. Look, and the funny thing is, it's not just African Americans, right? It's also the Scalp Act of 1749, where for $300 modern dollars, you had to cut off the head or the hair of an Indian to prove that you got them out of the way so they could settle.
I heard or read that Mount Rushmore was built based on that.
Is that right? I never heard that.
Mount Rushmore was originally under control of the Indians.
You mean Native Americans?
Yeah, Native Americans. Sorry, politically.
I'm a little woke, okay? I'm a little woke.
And that's how they pushed them out.
By doing that?
By doing that.
Makes
I mean,
sense.
I have to look into it. I'm not expert. Please don't take my word for it.
You're not pulling a Joe Rogan, are you?
I am not a Google.
Misinformation?
Yeah, I'm not a Google master here.
Although you have access to Google.
I have access to Google.
Okay.
But I have to look. But that is what I've came to find out.
That's what you believe to be true.
Yeah.
Well,
There's
luckily.
a little bit of American history that people should know about. The Chinese Exclusion Acts of the 1840s. These are things we don't talk about.
It's not true that people don't talk about these things. We all did learn
You
about.
don't want them talked about?
No, that's not true either.
You want
That's
to cancel
No,
them?
Malcolm, I'm sorry, you're lying. That's
not-
lying.
Malcolm, you're lying.
It is lying.
It's funny how he says it though. Malcolm is like, you don't want
You
to
want to talk about it? Well, obviously not if they're trying to cancel
Yeah.
critical race theory. And like the southern states are doing. Nothing.
Nothing is there.
The things that you just mentioned, I define critical race theory by citing the actual authors of critical race theory, and you seem to be a pretty good beneficiary of the meritocracy because you have merit, Malcolm. So if you're going to criticize the meritocracy as an outgrowth of white supremacy, then you're going to have to tear down the system that you've succeeded in because you have merit, or do you not have merit?
You know, when my great-great-grandfather ran away from slavery to join the 111th U.S. Colored Troops and fight against the South, keeping human beings as slaves, he didn't think, you know what? In 150 years, my great-great-grandson's going to have to sit on stage and argue with a guy who thinks all that's bullshit. All right? I'm just saying, there is no controversy. The controversy that's made up is people saying that this is being discussed, this is being taught in schools, and that kids should be kept away from it.
That's not true.
It's not even a real controversy.
Malcolm, the fifth
Malcolm?
largest school district in America, Clark
Malcolm.
County, just decided that they were going to lower.
When you say somebody's name several times, you actually, what the psychology behind it is, you want them to come to your side.
Yeah.
You want to be friends with them.
It's not gonna happen.
It's not happening. In this argument, that's not happening. And Ben Shapiro realized that, and by saying his name several times, he's just trying to get him to come to his side.
Well,
he's losing.
Standards with regard to testing because they wanted to alleviate disparities in outcomes. That is an outgrowth of critical race theory.
Can you draw a straight line to it?
Yes,
Really?
100%. Because when you say that the meritocracy is an outgrowth of white supremacy, and then you suggest that I'm somehow denying that slavery took place or that your great-great-great-grandfather was a hero because I'm saying that I want people tested when they are in school to see if they are good at school, then what you're purporting to push now is just nonsense. And it's sheer bullshit, Malcolm. It's just bullshit.
No, but I think it's also a leap to say that he thought that was bullshit, because that's not what it is. I mean, are we talking about 2021? Are we talking about 1861? Because
The point is, can we talk about 1861 and 2021?
yes, we can. And I don't know who's against talking about history.
Well, I mean, I understand that they want to, in Texas, they're talking about removing
Yes.
references to the Ku Klux Klan. They're talking about
Right.
removing. Well, I mean, come on.
That's Texas.
I mean, how can you watch Forrest Gump without even knowing who Nathan Bedford Forrest is, right? I mean, these are people who are historical figures who did bad things. No one is actually saying we want to go back and erase everything and restart and talk to you about these things. Critical race theory is a subject because the Republican right has made it a subject. No real school organizations are
Malcolm,
mandating this for
I hope
kids.
every Democrat in America takes your perspective,
I hope
and they
so
will,
too.
and they will be shellacked at the polls. Roy Teixeira just wrote a piece, the emerging Democrat majority, Roy Teixeira, he just wrote a piece about what he called the Fox News fallacy, a tendency of people on the left to believe that just because Fox News mentions something, it can't be real. The reality is, a lot of this stuff is taught in schools.
You mean like viruses?
Well, okay.
Well,
what do you say?
Viruses. The right does not believe in virus.
Oh, okay.
Does not believe in COVID,
Okay, you're right. There are states like
critical.
from the old Confederacy
And-
who do want to airbrush history. That's not, I think, the majority in this country.
Ben Shapiro thought it was a low blow.
Race theory, if you say, does that mean teach history unvarnished? I would say yes. Then I'm totally for critical race theory. If you say, does it mean acknowledging that racism persists today? I would say yes. Teach that. Should we have remedial means? That's like affirmative action. There's lots of people who are against that. I'm still for that. I still think when you read the statistics,
Affirmative action, I think, sometimes is used in a wrong way.
I'm sure it is.
Just because of your color, you get a little bit of advantage in colleges now. Same qualification, but a black person that has a little bit less credentials, they can get in
Yeah,
over
I think
a more qualified person.
I think that's kind of the point, right?
Yeah.
I mean, for hundreds of years, that's how it was for white people. They might have been less qualified, they still got in because they were
Yeah.
they're trying to bridge that gap. I don't know how long it takes, but I have no idea.
But it's hurting on the other side too.
Yeah.
So
statistics, and I have some of them here. Blacks earn 40% less, 90% less family wealth. High poverty high schools, 72% blacks to 31% white. Live 6 years shorter. Half as likely to go to college. 8 times more incarcerated. These are real statistics. The question is, what do we do to address them? These are real statistics. You think we should address them? You think we should address them, right? The question is, what are we doing about it?
Ben Shapiro is left there
If
shaking his
critical race
head,
theory
basically.
means making children in school fixate on race, I'm not for that. If if it's about collective guilt, I didn't do anything to your great-great-great-grandfather. I don't want to be responsible for that. If it's about, a toxicity of just from being born white, if it's about dividing everybody into oppressor and oppressed and oppressor, I'm not for that. So there are things that are being taught and are going around that I'm not for, that if that was critical race theory, I wouldn't be for.
I agree with you, and I don't think that's critical race theory.
But it's being,
I think a lot of people think like Bill Maher does.
Yeah, that is the thing that they're worried about. That's the worry.
Yeah, I think that's true. But I think when you paint the left as everyone not thinking that way, I think the other way, that they should have guilt, and that's what sells.
Yeah.
Bill Maher's position wouldn't sell anything. Nobody would watch that.
No.
But when he say that, they all want you to feel guilty about who you are, how you look, and what your ancestors did, all that, people tune in all day long for that stuff. So I think that's the kind of the skill set of the right, because they can do that. They make you think that everyone thinks this.
That's what they're trying to sell.
Oh yeah, it's impressive too, and it works. It works. I mean, how many news cycles they've been talking about critical race theory?
And this is what Malcolm Nance was talking about. I said, this is not what critical race theory is. This is not what we were talking about here.
It's like the Obama golem they created. Remember back in he was all these things that he wasn't.
Yeah.
He was a socialist, Marxist, atheist, whatever the hell he was, Nigerian.
And he wasn't any of those things.
No.
I mean,
he was corporatist.
Yeah, I mean, he was more closer to Reagan than he was to Clinton.
Yep,
even to Clinton.
I know, and yet he was not. He was none of that. He was a boogeyman.
Yeah,
and okay, that's funny. But they're good at the narrative. They're better at the narrative than the left is, for sure.
Yep,
it's the outrage. I think
what's happened here is this terminology, sort of like defund the police, has been hijacked and been framed around the left as that they want to do all this, they want to rip down the entire social...
And which is true.
Yeah.
I mean, even with the defund the police, nobody's asking to tear down the police department.
Nope.
What we're saying is we want to take some of that money. Why do we need to buy tactical vehicles?
Armored personnel carriers. And you don't. You're in the city. You're not, I mean, Beirut.
Yeah, I mean, in a small city like, let's say, Louisville or Flower Mound, why do they need a armored carrier personnel vehicle? Why do they need that?
You never know, AJ. Might be invaded.
I mean, what are the most they're going to have? A bar fight?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, maybe. Yeah. Look, you have to plan for every contingency, okay? You don't know what's going to happen.
And they have all those things sitting around.
Yeah.
I mean, you go to their police station, it looks like a occupying army base. It doesn't look like a police station anymore.
I think that's the point. Yeah. Let's make it seem that way.
Yeah.
To scare people, intimidate people.
Yep.
That could be what it is, intimidation.
I mean, a police station should be accessible to people, right? Not have barbed wires and fences and...
Yeah, like it's an embassy or something.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah.
Fabric of America, and they want us to be guilty about everything. I want you to teach history. I had a lot of people in the military. Hold on. I had a lot of people in the military, senior officers who had to make life and death decisions, who were total morons about the cultures and institutions and countries we were going into, and people died because of that.
We have a perfect example of that, Afghanistan and Iraq. Bush had no idea what he was doing there. Mm-hmm. That's the history we need to learn. We need to learn the history of these things, of these wars and these places. If they would have understood, if Bush would have understood that Iraq is not a place, it's not one ethnicity there.
Yeah.
These people are different people.
Yep, that's right.
I mean...
No, they're all the same.
No.
They're in the same place. How can they be the same?
I mean, Iraq was put together after World War I. Mm-hmm. North part of Iraq does not agree with the middle part of Iraq. Middle part of Iraq does not agree with the south or the north.
Mm. Sound like America. If you approach it like that, you'll understand a little better.
Yeah, I mean, Shia Sunnis are not the same people. I mean, it's just nonsense. I mean, if we understood those things, we would not have gone in there and saying these people are going to think that we're liberators.
Which people?
Yeah.
Which people? What do you mean? The Kurds? I don't know. What are you talking about? Yeah, that's always the case, though. I mean, because
don't need that
arrogance.
If we agree
Yeah.
that history should be taught, why are you defending critical race theory, which is not history?
Did I not just say a moment ago that I think that term has been hijacked and that's not what
Okay,
we're
so
talking
let's
about?
say
Then why
critical
are you
race.
defending it?
I'm going to go back and repeat that I didn't say that.
Okay.
You are literally defending critical race theory by redefining
Didn't
it
I
as
just
just
say-
teaching history, which is a cheap semantic trick, and you know it.
Is this what you do on your show? Because it sucks.
Malcolm, I appreciate that, but I will comfort myself
sure
tonight
we
by
have a-
sleeping on my bed made of money.
Even Bill Maher was laughing.
I'm sure we have another adult subject to talk about.
Well, how about that Andrew Cuomo? I tell you, he's
Wow. I mean, his wife had to see that. His
Yeah.
kids have to. His family sees that. How embarrassing.
I mean, he says that and he takes a drink of water. That means he was getting hot. Yeah.
Like, oh.
He was getting hot. He was losing it. And his throat was choking.
I think he's used to being challenged very much.
No.
No, on his show he didn't get challenged. I mean, he goes to Fox News sometimes. He didn't get challenged, and just not appealing to him.
Yeah, I mean, he goes to colleges, different universities.
Oh, where kids challenge him.
Yeah, where kids come up to him and they ask him questions. Where those kids, most of them are ultra woke people anyway.
Yeah.
They don't have the understanding of the subject they're talking about.
Yeah.
And when he kicks their ass, people think he's the smartest guy.
I mean, look, Steven Crowder oftentimes will best some of the students and he's an idiot. So
Yeah.
like if he can do it, Ben Shapiro can definitely do it. And
Yeah. I mean, he does that all the time. And we can see in this clip where a real intellectual, where a real person that has knowledge of the subject does not get intimidated or get beat by Ben Shapiro.
oh yeah, for sure. I mean, is he a professor? What does he teach where does he teach?
Who, Michael Nance?
Wasn't he a teacher or a professor?
No, he was an Air Force officer and a CIA officer. And I think he teaches somewhere.
I thought he did too at the
Yeah.
Naval Academy or somewhere like
Yeah.
that. I'm not sure.
And now I think he's just appears on shows like this.
Well, he may have a company or something. We'll find out real quick what he does.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Terror Asymmetrics Project on Strategy, Tactics, and Radical Ideologies. He's the executive director. It's a mouthful.
Yeah.
It's a mouthful. So that's what he does now. But he's written several books. He was in the Navy.
Yeah, a Navy, sorry. Yeah.
That's okay. It's more misinformation. Like, it's okay. Because we correct ourselves, unlike
Yeah.
some people.
Like, he was not in the Air Force, sorry, Navy.
Okay. Yeah. So, but yeah, you're right. It pays to have a professional, an intellectual on to refute some of the points. It matters. You can't get it from Bill Maher. So
No, Bill Maher is a drifter.
he's a drifter.
He's drifting to the right.
He seems to be.
Yeah, I mean, he's. I used to like him. He was. I still like him sometimes.
Yeah, his New World are sometimes pretty salient.
But
But,
he's. He is as he getting older. He is drifting to the right side.
I guess
He's probably always was in the middle anyway.
yeah.
But he was leaning left.
Well,
he was
it's
never a real left.
It was the pot thing. That's what it
Yeah.
was. He wanted pot legalized.
Yeah.
And when it got legalized, now he can just be who he is.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah. He's less entertaining than he used to be, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, the real time is it's not funny really anymore because of COVID. COVID has something to do with it because he cannot have as many guests anymore.
That's true.
He used to have 3-4 people all the time.
Well,
So, But we thought bring up Ben Shapiro again and talk about him.
Yeah, keep him relevant.
Yeah.
I don't want you guys forgetting about Ben Shapiro. He's still out there, guys. All
Yeah,
right.
I mean, we like it when he get his butt whipped by a real guy.
Yeah, it's entertaining for sure.
Yeah, I mean, instead of going on universities campuses and kicking kids' butts.
Yeah.
So.
And it's informative, educational. So you
Yeah.
learn a lot, and hope you enjoyed it.
Hope you will like and subscribe, and that tells us you like our material, and we'll keep on doing this stuff. So
Let's do
thanks.
it. Thanks.
Bye-bye.